Yep.
Hey, good morning, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the book club meeting this month for this month's book, which is "Longest Day of the Future" by Lucas Varela. We have Lucas here from France, live from
Yes.
France. Thanks for joining us, Lucas.
A pleasure. It's a real pleasure for me.
Awesome. You're let's kind of get straight into your career. I think is maybe the way to go. So you're Argentinian, that's correct, right?
That's correct. Yes, I was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, long time ago. I have a white hair, long time ago.
So one of the things that I'm always entertained by is that the American audience really just doesn't know a lot about South American comics and the South American how the market works. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about the South American market from your point of view. We know a bit about the European market, but South America. I mean, you could theoretically drive from San Francisco to Buenos Aires. Theoretically, I mean, it wouldn't be a fun drive, but you could do it. But like, if we wanted to,
I don't think you can drive. It's possible. I don't know. It's very far away, Argentina. It's in the south, you know. And Argentina have the particularity, have a big history in comics and a big tradition, and it's been lost in the constant economic crisis. And there's not a market of comics in Argentina. So everybody works for newspapers or for French, European markets or American markets. We have, for example, Eduardo Rizzo from Argentina, or Ariel Olivetti. Recently, Fantagraphic published a very important seminar comic from Argentina. It's called The Eternaut.
Yeah,
and it's a very
good book.
It's a very important comics from Argentina. But yeah, there's a lot of authors. There's not such thing as a style, an Argentinian comic style. I don't think so. Maybe there's some tradition of black and white and Breccia, Alberto Breccia, the rough noir with a lot of ink. I'm all the contrary. My style is very clean and have nothing to do with that style of dramatic Argentinian comics.
Yeah. So there's no native Argentinian publications. Like, you don't have comics being produced there and sold on newsstands, or?
Yes, there are. There are some small publishers, and there's a newspaper that publishes an important magazine. It's the only magazine. It's this one. It's called Fierro, and this magazine have a very long tradition and a lot of authors publishing this magazine. It's the only monthly magazine I know of comics, and this cover is mine. I make this cover, and nice. I used to work a lot for this magazine. And this book, the longest, how is it called? The Longest Day of the Future. Sorry, I have the title in French.
That's fine.
The Longest Day in the Future was first published in Fierro magazine here.
Oh, okay.
So then it came out in France. But I'm living now in France because I started a residence of comics residence in Angoulême. It's a town known for the festival, and there's a residence for artists to work in projects. So I came here like 5 years ago, and I stay in France. Now I moved a couple of months ago to Bordeaux. That's where I am. But in Angoulême, it's the place where I developed this book. And I have, there are some American authors there with me. I spent the 4 years in residence with Jessica Abel and Matt Madden, very good friends of mine now. Then there was Ted Stern also, have a short, a summer, he spent a short time. I love his work. I don't know which other. There is several comic authors that. Yes. I'm forgetting. What's the name of this guy? Well, I forget the names. I don't know. A lot of authors. There's a lot of authors from all the world. They are from Korea, from Italy, Spain, Brazil. It's a very interesting place to be and to share the experience, the works. I have a photo. Yes, I have a photograph of the place. I don't know if I can show you or this is going to explode. But,
yeah, there should be a button on your screen to show you your screen. It'll look like a little arrow, or at least it used to look. YouTube just changed everything, so it used to look like a little arrow that was inside of like a television screen.
Screen share, this one.
Screen share, exactly that one. Yep.
Let me try. So
sounds good. So this program was for cartoonists to come and just work on anything they wanted to. How does this work? This is fascinating.
You have to present the project, and there's several committee selector. I don't know how to say in English. It's some guys that choose the works. No
committee.
And so I passed the dossier, and you can choose the time you want to stay. The maximum is 4 years. Wait,
so that's a long time before you.
Yeah. And Matt and Jessica also, they stay 4 years. And there's a couple of months ago they go back to the States. So are you seeing something here?
We're seeing ourselves now. We're seeing your desktop. That's
okay,
your desktop now.
That's cool. I'm going to show. Let me see. I have some image here. This is La Maison des Auteurs. Can you see it?
Yep.
Perfect. This is a really nice town, Angoulême. But if you stay 4 years, maybe it's too much. It's a little bit boring. This is my atelier, where I work in paper. Most of the book, everybody think I use the computer to draw, but no. Just the colors, I use Photoshop. This is my view. It was an amazing view. It was really great.
Pretty.
And my materials here, pens, all kind of pens I use. Rulers, yeah, of course. A lot of rulers I use in this book. This is the other side where I use the scanner, the computer. And these are the streets of Angoulême. They're very nice. Another view of Angoulême.
Pretty.
Okay. Let me go back. How can I go back?
You basically.
Here you are. Here you are. Yeah.
Yeah. And there you are.
It works. I saw the interview with Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba, and they are showing images, and I say I have to do the same.
Yeah. Very good. Well, that sounds like a really fantastic program that allows you to go and sort of unfettered create. When you so you make a presentation for what you want to do. Do you find that when you're in that environment where you're working with other cartoonists and other creators, does the project change as a result of that, or do you get even more focused on what it was? Did that question make sense?
Yes, of course. Yes, it changed the project. I developed most of the project there. The pages I show for getting inside, I didn't use them because they were very different, and it really changed my way of thinking comics and working comics. I was in contact with a group of comic artists called Uvapo that make a lot of experimental comics, very interesting. Matt Madden is part of this group. And I wanted to do something that it was not traditional comic, and I put some rules to do. The 8 panels per page, and to be without words was from the beginning. And I wanted to very clean my style, and I use a very clean style. A lot of all the backgrounds from the distance, all the spaces you see are very from the distance, so I don't have to do details. And I have and it's secret is all improvised story. It's not that I develop, I write it. I start drawing like sketches and doing the story all improvisation. No?
Yeah.
And I left the last pages for the end. I was very sad when I finished the book, and I think it says you can feel it. The end is a little bit sad or dark. I don't know. I have a girl with problems with a girl, so that's some part of it is reflects. So I think. Yeah. I think it's a lot of readers get disoriented, no, with the story. I don't know. In France, I don't have the feeling the French people like it so much. And I was very frustrated with the book when it came out. It came out in France in a very little format. I didn't like it. And I was very happy. It gave me a lot of strength when the Fantagraphic decided to publish it. It was very important for me.
Yeah, this is a beautiful edition too. It's a very strong book.
For the first time, it's better. The American edition is better than the French edition. Mostly it's the contrary, no?
Yeah, no. Mostly it is the contrary. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. This is the first silent book that we've done. The first pantomime book. I kind of want to ask you guys. Hey, Rustine, how are you? You snuck in. I thought you were in Los Angeles.
We just came back.
Just for this?
Just
for this. Nice. So anyway, I wanted to ask the audience. What did you guys think of it being a silent book without words? Was that more challenging for you to read? Was it?
I thought I was like poring over the images more than I usually do. Because usually I'll read the dialogue and then the image will kind of be like the background to it, and I kind of take it more subliminally. And here I kind of had to slow down when I first started reading it to make sure I was like really following what was happening.
Yeah,
I had to like go back to make sure I understood the characters, like the different corporations, to make sure I was clear who was doing what.
Yeah,
definitely got the point.
Everybody said a couple of lectures. You have to read twice. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely got the part that it was like how he mentioned that it's kind of like disorienting the way that it is, and it felt that way. It felt like you had to kind of keep track of everything, and then sometimes it would just get thrown away right in front of you. It was fun.
One of the things that I noticed that I'm not sure that the rest of you necessarily picked up, and it helped me decode it a lot easier, was there's two different color schemes. One corporation is blue and the other corporation is red. But it took a couple. I mean, it took probably 2 chapters. Well, it took the 3rd change of color before I went, oh, now I see what's going on with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you need some concentration to read it. It's not for a lazy reader. I don't know, but it's in the same time it's easy to read without words. No, it's like a natural way to see a comic for me, and I want to say that also it's not a message book because no, some people try to find an allegory of or what I did want. What did I want to say? I want to say nothing. But as a dystopian future story, maybe you have some reflex of the reality of our world, something like that.
Sure. And, I mean, I think for me, one of the things that I certainly put into it in my head is, Coke versus Pepsi, like that kind of thing, Google versus Apple, like that kind of dichotomy. And you can see a point where the world could devolve into two corporations, warring over it, and not caring. What I really appreciated, I think the most though, was just, you're right. It is dark. It is dystopian, but it's also really, really funny in places. I mean, this book is kind of hysterical at times. I particularly loved the big red robot who loves the flies.
Yeah.
And when he gets that last moment, just as he dies, and he sees all of the flies in the garbage, and he dies happy, and I was like, I actually felt good about that. That made me feel nice and human on the inside. So yeah, I really liked that.
The other robots have more fans. The sunk robots, the little one. Have a lot of fans.
Yeah. Did you have a point that you wanted to make?
I was just gonna say with how simple of a dichotomy it was, it just reminded me of Spy vs. Spy. The fact that it was silent.
Oh, I love that.
Like a very dystopian version of Spy vs. Spy.
Well, so let me go ahead.
No, go on.
So I was actually going to use that as you were aware of Proheus, I assume, in Spy vs. Spy in Argentina. Did you get mad there?
Yeah, I read Mad Magazine when I was a teenager. Yes. There was an Argentinian version that it didn't last so much of Mad Magazine. But then when I started reading in English, it was more easy to get the original version of Mad. From the 80s, I think I have some number from the 80s, from 90s, yeah.
So what brought you into comics? What were the comics that you were reading? What were the comics that influenced you and made you want to do comics?
I started reading Franco-Belgian comics, I think, in magazines. In my house there was Asterix, was very common comic, very famous comic you can find it everywhere. Asterix and Lucky Luke, no?
Lucky Luke, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lucky Luke. And yeah, and my parents used to buy me a magazine that came a lot of French and Belgian comics. That's most my first impression of comics. Then I started to discover American comics when I was a teenager. Yes, I think it was my first mainstream American comics I read was a Superman comic of Sean Byrne, I remember. Very impressed me. But it was not easy to find comics here in Argentina. You have to go to special libraries, and they don't have every month the comics, so I read from time to time. It was very difficult.
So given that, yeah. But given that, so what made you want to do comics then professionally?
I don't know. It's just I continue reading. I have a mix of. I really like to read comics. I'm a very fan of comics, and I have a mix in my head of styles. I read from manga to French, American comics, Italian comics, Argentinian comics. I have a mix in my head because I really love the medium and comics. It was so gradual. No, I didn't say I want to do comics as a professional. It was very gradual. I started doing underground comics and at the same time working as an illustrator and graphic designer. I think it's 10 years ago I started to do comics in a professional way. And I started working with as a writer from Argentina, very well known. It's called Carlos Trillo, and it was like a master to me. And I have books with. I can show them. Let me see. I have it here. Yeah, I have this book. One of the first one I made is called L'Héritage du Coronel. With this writer Carlos Trillo. It talks a little bit about the military dictatorship in Argentina, but it's very dark and dark humor. Then I have this one. It's like a Pinocchio story, but with a lot of dark humor too. He goes to hell, and he get out of hell. You can see it here. It's a very fun book. This one I made. And then I have this one I make with a friend writer, and there are stories about mental illness. But the thing is that all the stories are like mixed. We mix the language of comics. We made a lot of experimentation with the language. It's very interesting. I don't know if maybe Fantagraphics is going to print this one. We don't know yet. But I don't know if you can see. We
can see. Yeah, that's very nice. The use of the page is excellent.
Yeah. Then I make this is like a crime story with Carlos Trillo before he died. Then he died. He's a writer. Another it's only published in Argentina. This book. Yeah. And I have some little collaborations. I made for Vertigo a short story with these colors, anthology colors. And last year, I make a story for Dark Horror Present too, with John Arcudi. It's pronounced like that, no? John Arcudi.
Arcudi, yes.
Maybe let me see if I can show it, because I have a lot of fun doing this. Let me see.
Oh, did he cut himself off? Well, that's all right. Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll be right back. So vamping.
Hello.
Oh, there he is.
I touched the wrong button.
It's all good. Sorry. It's no problem.
So I don't know if you let me see. Let me try again. Let me try again, because I want to show you this. Here it is. No, this is not this one. This one. This is a story I make with John Arcudi, and I have a lot of. I try to make some American comic book style. I don't know if it's okay, but can you see it well?
Yep. See it perfectly.
Perfect. So this is a story about a ghost in a bar that makes people fight. It was very fun. And so it came this big guy, and he's very pacific. He don't want to fight with anybody. And he tried to do everything to make him fight. So this is my only experiences with American publishers. I hope I can do more in the future. But now, if I can show you the things I'm working at,
yes, please.
Yeah, I'm going to show this book. I have to finish it for January. It's called Michigan, because it's a story of a war bride. War bride are the French girls that get married with American soldiers at the end of the war, the Second World War. And there are a lot, and it's a story of the war that nobody knows so much. And this girl ends in Michigan, United States. So the book is called like that. And it's very fun, and it's they talk a lot about the difference of the French and the American culture. And it's strange because an Argentinian is like doing a story of a French girl and going to America, something like that. Here start the story in the 40s, where he meet the soldier. They have no robots. There's no blood, no spaceship. No, there's no strange things. And a very nice story. Very happy. I'm very happy.
That's beautiful. Yeah, no, I was gonna say I can see that whole influence, the particularly the Belgian.
Yeah, Linea Clara. And the story goes to the present. It's a journalist meeting a woman. And here I have to draw big, fat American cars. It's always a specific like that.
That's
Sideshow Bob. And also it's a reflection of a family in America now, with all the crisis. And they have to leave selling dildos.
That's great. So you said that you're doing everything on paper. You're working in a traditional, drawing and then scanning. Are you hand doing your own lettering as well, or are you doing your lettering on the computer?
No, on the computer. Well, let me tell you something. The longest thing in the future, all by hand, except the color. Now I'm doing it digital because I get tired. It goes so fast. I don't care. I don't have original anymore.
Oh, okay.
But they go very fast. I'm back. Yeah.
There you are. Was there, so when you did Longest Day of the Future and you did it in pantomime, was there any thought in your mind about it working well internationally as a result? Because anyone should be able to read this, because there's no words involved. You don't have to translate. You don't have to worry about losing a subtle meaning. Or were you just doing it because you wanted to try it?
I think it was because I was in a foreign country. I didn't speak the language, and I think it was something to do with that. But also, I really love. I love Jim Woodring. It's my favorite author. And it has something to do with the beginning of comics and all that experiment of the real pioneers of comics did. And I don't know, and I am more like an introspective guy. I love silence. I don't talk so much in meetings. It's one of my ways to show myself.
Very good. Did anybody here have? You guys have any particular questions that you'd like to? I mean, I can keep talking, but I always like going to see what you guys have to say. If anybody has any thoughts or comments, Sienna?
Well, he actually answered a lot of them,
Yeah,
and then
the
seeing the
red
pens
hair,
was
yeah.
really cool. But, what was your inspiration actually for making the corporation so cute? Because we have like a pig and a bunny, and it's just really funny because when I think of corporations, like I kind of think like the face of evil, but although actually that totally works with the cute because cute will take over the world. But I really do want to hear your influence on that because it was just really adorable, and it kind of reminds me of Scratchy, like how you do the cartoons of them just like ripping each other apart. Also, Happy Tree Friends, because that's also in early. But
Wait, talk closer to the microphone, please. I
sorry.
hear the last thing. Yeah.
It's on. Okay. What was your inspiration
Yeah.
making the corporation so cute? Like.
Okay. I work a lot of a graphic designer doing logos and I know the all corporations try to persuade or to attract the people with the publicity. It's like a way to do that. That's a pervert thing. Try to attract you. But at the other side, I have a really dark purpose to dominate you. Something like that. I don't know.
So I have we have a question from Peter Wong, who isn't here, but he asked me to ask about your so and I'm gonna paraphrase this question rather than asking it literally, mostly because I didn't print out the question, so I have to do this from memory. But what he wanted to ask about science fiction, and I mean, are you a science? Let's start there. Actually, are you a science fiction fan, natively, or did you just happen to choose a science fiction story in this case?
Yes, I can say I'm a science fiction fan. Yes.
Okay. So
I read a lot of Asimov. I don't know. A lot of stuff like that.
So a great deal of science fiction is positive, looking towards a bright future, and this is really dark, really dystopian. So what were your influences on that?
So I don't know exactly. I think I don't know. I have a mix of movies and maybe Metropolis also. But I don't know. I have a direct influence I can take. And of course, a lot of influence from other comics I have. And I really like the little stories Chris Ware made about the future. He didn't make so much, but they are really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't know what can I say you for influence.
It's
really
okay.
like,
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No. I really like a new cartoon that's. I wish I can have the same spirit as Rick and Morty, you know.
Yeah.
It's not an influence because I begin to saw it when I was already doing the book. But that kind of humor and science fiction, I really love.
I think Peter was specifically asking about one thing he was specifically asking about was Futurama, which I actually found interesting in your comment about Itchy and Scratchy, because Futurama also has kind of a very dark vision of what the future is going to be. Was that an influence?
So much. No, not so much Futurama. No. I saw a couple of episodes, but I didn't have that in mind. I have a book of a French author. I think it's here. This author is called Yves Chalat, and he died in the 80s. I was one of my best influence for this.
Yeah, we can see. Yeah.
Yves Chalat is one of my favorite artists, and he made this crazy science fiction story. It's from, I think it's from the 80s. And yeah, I don't know. I have it's in my head.
Yeah, very little Chaland has made it to the United States. Like maybe two books at the most. It always fascinates me. You just showed of your own work. You showed 5 different albums of your own work that has never made it here. Of course, I'm always fascinated by all the comics that are out there that we just don't get in America at all, and we really want them.
Here in France, there's a lot of authors and books. It's incredible. It's sad because you publish a book. 1 week later, everybody forgets. I don't know. It's very hard to go to the library for me. Because you see wonderful books, and I get frustrated.
Yeah, when I was doing a little research, as I do before I do these interviews, and I had seen the Pinocchio and Hell book, and I liked your description of it, or a description that I had read at least of it, that said Pinocchio is such a fantastic liar, he was even able to lie his way out of hell. And I thought, wow, that's just great. And that really strikes me as something that would sell very well here in America if we were able to get it.
Oh yeah, sure.
I would love it if we could get that brought over.
I show it to Eric Raynor from Photographics, but I don't know. I think they're going to wait. If the longest day in the future sells well, I don't know.
Well, I mean, we know we sold at least 300 copies here to the book club, so I'll tell Eric to publish some more. Yeah. Yes, please.
So you mentioned that while you're creating this book, it was mostly improvisational. Are there any directions that you tried to go and then you ended up throwing away that were interesting or that you thought to explore afterwards?
Well, the idea was to make the same story, but in the prehistory. And I have the character. Let me show you. I have a share. Here I have the character with the same reflex in the back.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I didn't. It was going to be so long. I didn't. Maybe I'm going to do it in the future. The longest day of the past.
Does he have a name, by the way? I know he doesn't have one in the book. Did you give him a name when you were making the book?
Yes, I make a list with the name of the character. I don't remember it. I have to search it in the Facebook page. I put all the characters with the names. But they were not important.
That's cool. Yeah, I was just fascinated by the fact that you kind of improv your way through the book, because I like I said, the whole thing kind of threw me for a loop the whole time I was reading it. and it makes sense that you did it that way, and like frames it a lot better in my mind.
Yeah, the thing I did is I start the book, then I go to the beginning.
Oh wow!
So I can use stuff I use more. It's like a puzzle I made.
Yeah, I especially like the parts about Paraíso. I thought they were just very interesting, very fun.
It's like some kind of nightmare. It's not like a paradise at all.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a list of all the negative and the positive topics of the story. Because I didn't find the positive stuff. But in the negative list, you have suicide attempt, you have depression, bad nutrition, violence against aliens, poverty, indifference, bad work conditions, authority abuse, violence against robots, and the worst of all, dreams lost. What happened to the guy?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Hi. So I'm very interested in this suitcase because it seems like it makes your dreams come true, but then it's used as a weapon, which was pretty interesting to me. And I'm curious if the reason the alien crashed the ship is because he was in the suitcase reliving his dreams and not flying his spaceship.
We don't know that. I have an idea to explain how did he fall, but I didn't do it.
Okay.
But yes, it's everything is like it's an opportunity loss. No, its power is an opportunity loss. All the things that happen in the book is opportunity loss. It's very dark in that. But at the same, it's I try to do a comedy, but I don't. You say it was hilarious for you. Brian, no? You say it was hilarious.
No, absolutely. Parts of it were parts of it were hilarious. Yeah. No, I laughed out loud probably 3 or 4 times, particularly towards the end. And yet it was dark and violence and horrible, but also funny. I actually really appreciate the dichotomy, and I'm actually kind of struck by the fact that you improvised your way through the book, yet your line is so precise. I mean, you're talking about rulers, and you can see it in the work. Every line is very detailed, very precise, very in place, and yet the story is improvised. I love that dichotomy. I appreciate that very much.
Yes, and the most important thing for me was to make an immersive world. No, something you believe you are inside that world. So I put a lot of detail in that, in the world, in the description of the surroundings. And I think to make a wordless comic is not for a lazy author. No? You have to really put details to help understand the story.
So when we talk about improvisation, I mean, I understand improvising the story, but how about the world building itself? The architecture, the robots and how they work. How much of that did you pre-plan?
Not so much. I make some rough in a book, but not so much. I just go to the white paper and start working, because I didn't want to waste so much time pre-planning and doing pre-production.
So you didn't like draw out the cityscape so that you were consistent with it.
No, I searched for some reference from all the science fiction books, and also some Jetsons backgrounds. You know, the Jetsons, the old TV show.
Right, the Jetsons, very much, yeah.
The Jetsons, yeah. But I didn't make so much research and pre-planning.
Right. Okay. Did you have another question, Sienna?
Not so much a question, just a comment. Yeah. I really, really loved it at the end when the old man tries to grab the girl's butt, and then she's just like not having it, and then it like the panel ends with just her grabbing, like staring at the dude grabbing the knife, and he's scoot away on his bike, and she's just like nope, and then next time you see his hand, it's a trophy. I love that was so good, and just thank you for that. It added some very satisfying humor at the end, especially because the rest of the ending was kind of like, oh, my heart.
Yeah, it's true. It's the only victory, in the story is from the woman. It's a strange woman.
Mm-hmm.
He have a little trophy and a medal at the end, like the medal the Chewbacca didn't reach. But I think it's my favorite character. The girl. It's like a spy, in the other corporation.
Yeah. I have a simple question. I'm just wondering how much of the text is translated, because you think it's a silent book, like nothing is translated, but there are chapter names, so that is obviously. But what about the sound effects, like zank, 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 and bwap?
No, that's the original sound. I didn't translate that.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny just how that works, and
it works in French and Spanish. I think.
Yeah.
The little paradise advertising, yes, I translated it. Except Paraíso, it's remaining Spanish.
Now, so did you my question for you is did you read when you got those sound effects? Did you sound them out? Did you? Because I did. Yeah. I got to that part of the book. I went zank, 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 zank. And it makes a lot of sense to me. Like I actually literally did that out loud. Did you?
I didn't do it out loud.
Okay.
In my head, I could hear the sound.
Right.
And I'm like, it's an alarm clock.
All right. So I'm the crazy one then. Okay. Cool. All right. No, that's good. No, I wanted to make sure.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's the only character to speak. The robot.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Has anybody else got anything else here? Comments, questions now? All right. Well, we love the book. I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say. Certainly the staff loved it. I mean, we pick these things by voting on them, and it came out at the top. It's a beautiful book. And we truly hope that more of your stuff gets brought over to the United States. Your older stuff gets translated, and you're a great cartoonist, and thank you for this. I mean, thank you for this book. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm very happy to meet you guys, and I was very demoralized when the book came out here in France because nobody cares. And this is very important for me.
Good. Well, I'm glad we were able to do that. I want to remind everybody that next month's book is Moon Cop by Tom Gold. Tom is going to be here on Saturday, the 8th of October, also at 10 a.m. because he's calling in from London. So we're going to have two back-to-back international calls. And then after that, this is news. Nobody knows this yet. The month after that is going to be Rolling Blackouts by Sarah Glidden. Sarah Glidden did
with me. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, absolutely. She previously to this, she did a tremendous book called How to Understand Israel in 60 Days or Less, which is really good. And Rolling Blackouts is just as strong. So I think you're going to love both of these choices And I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank Lucas for being here and being part of this with us. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you, all of you. Bye.
Great. Take care.
Thank you.